Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Monday, the 22nd of September. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Chris Jack. How goes it, Chris?
Oh, good. Not as busy a weekend as I was as I was fearing, and as we spoke about late last week. So Rangers held up their end of the bargain for a change, and now all focus on to Thursday night and a European tie, which is always something to look forward to.
Well, a game which was nice, fantastic. Rangers booking the place in the League Cup semi-final. So we'll discuss some of the big takeaways from that game on Saturday. The draw, spoiler alert, it's an Old Firm Cup semi. And we'll discuss a lot more in between as well. Before we do that, a quick word for our podcast sponsors at Willows Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust, and proud partners of the Rangers Review with over 20 years of experience in the fencing trade. These guys know what they're doing, folks. So if you need a new fence, then give them a call or head on over to their website, which is willows-fencing.com. You can get 10% off if you use the code Rangers Review. So you can see it on the ticket below. Go and give them a try if you are needing a new fence. So there you go. Right. Let's talk about, first of all, the news. Yesterday, of course, folks, with Rangers booking their place in the semi-finals of the Premier Sports Cup, they will now take on Celtic in the last four. That match will take place at the weekend of either Saturday or Sunday, the 1st or 2nd of November. Probably be the Sunday, with Motherwell taking on St Mirren in the other semi-final. Feelings on... opinion on that draw, Chris? I thought I had a feeling they would get Celtic after they disposed of Partick Thistle yesterday. No real surprise there. So if you're going to have to win this competition more often than not, you're going to have to beat teams like Celtic to go and win it.
It's a great draw for Motherwell and St Mirren, isn't it? No, they had really good wins themselves over the course of the weekend, and they'll be delighted to avoid the Old Firm. Gives them a real shot at it. And as you say there, you know that if you're going to win domestic cup competitions, there's every chance that you're going to meet Celtic along the way, and you're going to have to beat Celtic along the way somewhere. So you either get them in the semi and you try and beat them then, or you get them in the final and you try and beat them then. There's obviously a fair bit of football to be played before that game comes around. Who knows what form both sides will be in? Who knows what kind of mood both sets of fans will be in? Who knows who will be in the Rangers dugout? I think that's still up for debate heading into November as well. So it's the tie that Rangers, I think, ideally at this stage you don't want. You'd probably rather save the toughest one for the final, but if you then do get to the final, you're going to be overwhelming favourites for it up against, as I say, Motherwell or Stirling. So let's just take one game as it comes, and I say we'll see what shape both sides are in come that semi.
It's payback time from last season, that League Cup final. That still rankles with me. For me, that was it'll be forever have in my mind an asterisk next to it, just given the monumental officiating error and that cost Rangers, for me, a golden opportunity to win that cup final. So hopefully they can make it through. But that is a match for a good few weeks' time. But talking about the game at the weekend then, Chris, a lot going on. Of course, we had the protest beforehand, which, I mean, I was thinking about it watching Russell Martin's press conference after the game, thinking that it must have been difficult for him and the players, because the dressing room is right next to where those supporters were chanting "Get Martin out" and what have you. So on a purely professional basis, that must have been difficult to get his team talk across. Fair play to the team that came out. It was a much better display than what we've seen recently, Rangers deservedly making it through. Goals from Nico Raskin, had to be him. We'll talk about him shortly, and good to see Bojan Miovski also getting off the score sheet, getting off the mark for Rangers, getting on the score sheet as well. What did you make of the protest first of all, Chris? There was a protest during the game as well, of course, when the balls were chucked onto the park, which can disrupt momentum. I'm not a big fan of protesting like that during a game and getting the game stopped, if you like. Hopefully we don't do that on Thursday night with the UEFA bigwigs in town. But the protest to kick us off, what did you make of it?
I think they've certainly made their point. It certainly have caught the attention of Andrew Kavanagh and the rest of the Rangers hierarchy. We knew that it was coming. I think we had an idea of the numbers. I made an idea of how it would look and how it would sound. And I say Russell Martin and the Rangers board should be in no doubt about the strength of feeling. You look at a couple of thousand or so at the front door. You look at significant numbers of empty seats for that game, and both of those things would not be the case if Rangers had started anywhere near an acceptable run of form this season. Both of those, the protests outside and the protests inside, there was a number of banners against both Russell Martin and Patrick Stewart. That's only happening because Rangers have stunk the place out so far this season and been so far off it. The fans, they have been through more than anyone on that board or anyone in any position at that club. Fans have been through more than they will ever understand. They just want a successful Rangers side on the pitch. They want the club to operate in the right manner off the pitch, and if they feel that is not happening, you're going to get events like that. So I don't have a problem with people voicing their opinions. Don't have a problem with them making those feelings clear. Ultimately, though, it's the board that will decide whether they continue with the current setup or whether they make a change. But so we're told right from the outset of this takeover process, all the way through it, they're not going to have that same emotional attachment as previous chairman or as previous directors, previous boards. They won't be swayed by a bit of noise or protests or banners or anything like that. And it looks like that's going to be the case. There's nothing to suggest that Russell Martin is going anywhere as head coach as it stands. So it's up to the fans. Do they accept that, or do they continue to make their feelings known? Come Thursday night, I dare say we'll find out.
Yes, we certainly will. Nico Raskin getting the opening goal. Brilliant header. He's so good at that run from corners. Interesting celebration as well. The Meatball 3000 says, what was Raskin's celebration all about? Not too sure, to be honest with you, buddy, on that front. And Headkeeper says, great header from Raskin. For a guy that's pretty small in stature, he's got a great leap on him. And a fantastic goal. Great to see him back in the team as well. It just left me a tad frustrated we didn't see him against Hearts and Celtic, I've got to say. I think he would have made a massive difference. But incidentally, folks, there's a great piece on the website from Joshua yesterday that you can go and check out. The link is in the description below this video, just on Nico Raskin's return to the fold. Let's hope the differences between both head coach and player can now be put to the back burner, Chris, because Rangers can't afford to have this guy sitting on the sidelines, can they?
No, they can't. And we said that right at the very outset of this saga, right at the very outset of when this first game blew up, and even before this, right at the very start of pre-season, when Russell Martin spoke about Raskin and how he had to do more by doing less, and a lot of chat about Nico in between that and this situation then unfolding, speaking after the European game about his head being turned and that type of thing. So there's been a lot of chat about Nico. There's been a lot written about Nico over the course of the season so far. On Saturday, it almost felt like, as you say, it had to be him. There was nobody else that was going to lead the storyline in the way that he was potentially going to, and then ultimately did. It's a really, really good header. He's got that move and got that finish almost down to a T. That's a couple he scored like that, and he was the one guy that was really driving Rangers on. He was always looking for the ball, always looking to get forward. Had a great team shot early on that he dragged wide the target, but at least it was a show of intent. At least it was a shock, because outside of that and the goal that he scored, Rangers, I thought, were fairly poor once again overall. Chance creation is still a major issue for me. But that goal from Nico, they talk about goals coming at a good time. It came at a really good time. And then also the Majovski one just after that. That basically wins you the game. No surprise that Nico got the reaction that he got from the fans right throughout it. No surprise that he got the Man of the Match award, and he has to start on Thursday night, doesn't he? There's no other. If you're talking about first names on the team sheet, you stick Nico Raskin in the midfield, and you then work the rest of it from there. He has to play. He's the best player in this side. He's got such a high ceiling, got such a lot still to offer this club, and that relationship. And Russell Martin spoke about it after the game. Whether you believe that or not, whether you think it's rubbish or not, ultimately it doesn't matter. Whatever that relationship is, it doesn't matter. Right now, Nico Raskin needs Rangers, and Rangers need Nico Raskin.
Yes, incidentally, he was asked about the situation afterwards on Premier Sports. Nico said, listen, I think, well, it's in the past now. We have to move forward. We have to put in a good performance on the pitch. We have to look forward and build on that. Everything has not been perfect. I did not enjoy part of it. I think the manager didn't enjoy part of it. Now we have we've had a good chat, and well, hopefully we can just work together and have a good spell together and look forward. There are things that happen in football. We are an emotional club, an emotional team. So I just want to win. We just want to give back to the fans what they give to us. I think the support I had was amazing. For someone who's not born here, it just feels amazing. When I go onto the pitch, I try and give everything for my teammates and for the fans, and just try to win every game. Now, what is in the past is in the past. Now we look forward. It's not about me or the manager. It's about the team, about the club, and how we go forward and how we win games. This season is still very long. We have loads of things to play for. So I think if we can go through this tough time as a team, as a club, we will only get better. Now we just have to keep our head down, work hard in training, and hopefully we can keep winning games. So there you go. That is what Nico had to say on the situation. I think it's in everyone's best interests if there can be a working relationship between the head coach and the player. Now, it's vitally important Rangers keep their best players on the park at this point in time, because, as Chris rightly says, they are struggling. And as much as it was good to see them win at the weekend, they have now dropped to 11th in the Premiership table, given Dundee's win at the weekend as well, which is bonkers. Am I right in thinking with the results the way they are? I mean, Aberdeen are bottom. They're having an absolutely horrendous start to the season. Jimmy Tilleen, I think, should be under a great bit of pressure for them. But they play before Rangers return to action against Livingston away. Not easy. The possibility of going bottom, which is just nuts. I think we spoke about it before, Chris. It's just it's crazy. I mean, looking at the league table just now, and it's just it defies belief, really, that Rangers are down there. But hopefully, the result at the weekend can be the catalyst to perhaps a succession of wins. Can you see this team, based on what you witnessed at the weekend, now going on a bit of a run, or is it still precarious, do you reckon?
I think it's still far too early for that, has to be said. You have to say it's a team overall this season that has shown very, very little about it. As I said there, I thought first half, largely, it was much of the same from Rangers. I didn't think they were great at all. You go in 2-0 at half-time, job's done. Second half, the pressure's off a wee bit. They could have added a third, maybe even a fourth in that second half. A couple of missed chances. Ant-Man does really well to create one for himself, and then can't quite finish it off. Sharmite has to score when he's through one-on-one. But overall, it was better. But when the bar has been set so terribly low, you don't have to improve much to find the improvement. So anyone that says turn the corner and they can go and do this, that, and the next thing, I just remind them of the previous dozen or so games, because this is a Rangers side that has been nowhere near good enough so far this season. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not start to make bold predictions about individuals or the collective, and certainly not the manager. It was slightly better. You would obviously rather win the game than not win the game. So you take you take the positive in that regard. You take a couple of positives from individual performances, but come Thursday night, the same pressure is still there, and if Rangers don't win the game, the same criticisms will still be there, the same levels of abuse will still be there, and the same questions around Russell Martin's position will still be there. One win over Hibs does not take any of that away. One win against Hibs, yes, it's great, but it's Rangers we're talking about here. I mean, since when was one game and one victory a sign for everyone to get the bunting out? So let's just keep the excitement for another few weeks. If they can go in this, I think these next few games heading up into the international break, if they can get a couple of domestic wins at tricky venues, Livy away, Falkirk away, and get a couple of European wins under the belt, or the one at Ibrox and then one away, that would be the start of the recovery. That would maybe give fans something to buy into. But even at that stage, it's only going to be a handful of games. Rangers sides that win titles and that challenge for silverware, you go on prolonged, not unbeaten runs, winning runs. Yeah. And I say Rangers have still got an awful lot to prove in that regard.
They do, in that Livingston game, sends shivers down my spine going there and playing it on that pitch. Incidentally, talking about Livingston, just to deviate slightly, I've seen Davy Martindale not best pleased about a big call that went against them, a VAR call that never gave them a penalty against Dundee. And he's really went to town. They lost to Dundee after a 97th minute penalty it was. It was given towards Dundee. So he had a right go saying there's no point clubs paying all this money if they're not getting the decisions right, which I wholeheartedly agree with him on that one. Said it last week after the scandalous officiating against Hearts, that it's nowhere near good enough at this point in time. And clubs are paying an awful lot of money for this technology. And for me, it's not delivering. But there you go. Moving on from that, you touched on there, Bojan Miovski, of course. Great to see him getting off the mark. He also was speaking to Premier Sports. He says, we know there are a lot of things happening outside of the dressing room, but we need to stick together and focus on football and winning football games. As a player, of course, you have this situation. We know how to manage these things. We just need to give a good performance to the fans and to win games. He said, of course, I'm happy after netting his first goal. Hopefully, I'm happy it's the first of many. I think we dominated the game. We pressed really well and we didn't rush the final pass. We were a little bit calmer. And of course, we scored that first important goal. Then after the second, we stayed together. You can actually watch his press conference in full over on our YouTube channel just now, folks. So do go and check it out. But good to see him getting his goal. That being said, you touched on the lack of chances being created, which is still a big issue, Chris. This point from Blue Nose Sparky says, our wings are definitely our weak point. Seen Mikey Moore coming in for a bit of criticism. Started again at the weekend. I'm going to try and cut my bit of slack here. He's a kid. We all know this. He's a young boy. He's just started out in the game, although he has very high expectations of himself, and Spurs do of him as well. However, we've seen young boys come up to Rangers before and really struggle. He's coming into an environment that is difficult for, I guess, any player at this point in time. I think a spell out the team might do him the world of good. Perhaps bringing him on if the team are winning, and then just telling them, go and try and showcase what you're all about. At this point, he's just maybe trying a bit too hard to impress.
It's just not quite clicking for him right now, is it? He's been given a couple of starts of late, been given that back in. We've seen him on either side, and it's just not quite working for him right now. I would be surprised if he starts on Thursday. I think on form, he doesn't deserve to start on Thursday. I think we'll see a lot of people say that Finlay Curtis should be. I know that old argument of develop our own players rather than develop someone else's players. I think Ant-Man should be in the running for a start on Thursday night as well. So he looks like a situation that Rangers have seen previously in Tillman. Certainly in Diallo, when you bring in lone players like this, it's really, really good for the player because he plays a lot of games. He plays in a hugely pressurised and at times difficult environment. You can grow up really, really quickly during one season at Rangers if you have have the right mentality. Ultimately, though, it won't be Rangers that will get the long-term benefit of that. And for this deal to work, then Moore has to contribute more. Good to see him getting in that position. Also in the build-up to the Miovski goal, it's a lovely pass from Nico, obviously popping up in that right-hand side. Moore does well, gets his shot away, also gets blocked, and then Miovski finishes it off. So that was a good moment for him. But we need to see more of that, I think. And I'd be surprised if he's one of the starters come Thursday night.
Yeah, I agree with you on Antman and on Curtis as well, incidentally. I do not want Moore's loan to really stunt the development of Finlay Curtis. And I think he's... I had him when I was on with Johnny on our sort of pre-match show on Saturday morning. Loads of you tuned into that, so thank you, folks. It was good to be back on with Johnny, and I had Rangers setting up in a 4-4-2 shot corner with Curtis and Gassama on either flank. Incidentally, I would like to see that, or at least Antman on that right-hand side against Genk on Thursday night as Rangers kick off their Europa League campaign. Ahead of that game, Chris, are you expecting many alterations from what we've seen at the weekend, perhaps? I know Derek Cornelius came in, started the game. Russell Martin was pleased with his display. I think he has just a bit of balance. Enables John Suter to play on the right as well. Other than that, can you see any other changes, perhaps?
Would be surprised, I think, that wide right, that Mikey Moore slot, as we've just touched on. I think that's the most obvious one. You look elsewhere in the team, it's clearly going to be Butland, it's clearly going to be Tavin, McComa at fullback. I thought Cornelius and Suter looked comfortable enough. That looks like a more balanced partnership than the Suter and Giga one. So I think that has to continue. Safe to say Nico Raskin starts in the middle of the pitch as Gers starts. So I don't really see many alterations. You can imagine Diomande starts again. Manager really likes him. And you then look at the number 9 role, and Miovski's put himself in pole position. Now you've got a guy that you've spent £8 million on, and it's hard to see right now when he's going to get a start, because even though Miovski played in the previous couple of games, had very, very little service. He had very, very few chances to even think about scoring a goal, because Rangers were just so poor in those matches against Celtic and Hearts. Rangers obviously better at the weekend. Miovski, I thought, even outside of his goal, played well, and I think overall he's started his Rangers career well. He's the man I would imagine that's going to start. So I don't think we'll see that many alterations. You look at the squad. Also, the manager said post-match that Joe Rothwell was injured, so if he's fit, then he comes back into the squad. I don't see him coming back into the team. So I think it'll be about as you were, and go and try and pick up where you left off, but importantly, go and try and improve on it, because Rangers will have to raise that level once again if they are to get a result on Thursday and get their European campaign off to a positive start.
Yep. Anyone that's a fan of Bayrami or Dowell, just a reminder, neither are in the European squad as well. So there you go. Yeah, it will be interesting. A lot of comments coming in just on the first. Great Wall of Canada says Phil Clement derby. Yeah, absolutely is. Or the Big Ek derby. Of course, he went over there for a short spell. Alex McLeish, Alex Ray as well, back in the day. I think Thomas Buffel played for Genk as well, if I'm not mistaken, at some point later in his career. So yeah, a lot of Rangers connections to this game. They are struggling. Some comments saying how they're getting on. If you think Rangers are struggling, folks, Genk are not having a good season at all. 8 points from their opening 8 games. They are 14th in a 16-team division, and they're shipping goals and then some. They lost at the weekend to Union Saint-Gilloise yesterday, who are a good side. But Rangers beat them, of course, last season. But let's hope it's not another Club Brugge. This team aren't in the same. Well, they are in the same league, of course, but the expression that they're nowhere near as good as Club Brugge are. So, you expecting Rangers to win this game, Chris? It's a tricky one for me because, as we know, Rangers have been in really poor form at this point in time. Europe's different, although they come into this one off the back of that absolute doing by Bruges. So I'm intrigued to see how Russell Martin shapes up. But I think looking at it on paper, you'd be fully expecting Rangers to emerge victorious in this one.
Just as you were rhyming off the stats there about a point per game and towards the bottom of the table and not in a good place, I was wondering who you were talking about. The similarities and the links between the two clubs, they don't end at Big Phil, do they? It's a tie that Rangers really need to be looking to be winning. We know how this new league phase works now. You know roughly the points that you're looking at to try and qualify in the two sections. Your home games are hugely important, and Rangers have a chance to get off to a good start. Interesting to see what the crowd is like, both in terms of the number and the backing that they give the team. We always speak a lot about European nights at Ibrox and the impact that the crowd can have. So interesting to see if that's going to be the case. But if you have any ambitions of qualifying in this section, you really need to be winning your home games, and certainly against one of the weaker opposition that you will face. So it's a great chance for Rangers coming into it off the back of that victory Saturday. Obviously, hopefully there is no European scar tissue, and that Bruges battering is not still in their mind. But as you touched on there, a very, very different level of opposition. Genk are not going to go and cause Rangers the same problems that Bruges did over those two games. So it's all there for Rangers. Time will tell if they can go and grab the opportunity or not.
Yeah, they beat Lech Poznan, the Polish side, 6-3 on aggregate to make it to the group stage. But a few comments coming in. This one, Dana Life says, would you just play two up front? I would personally, but I doubt Russell Martin will. I'd perhaps play Asgard off Miovski on Thursday night. But yeah, it will be interesting. We'll find out who is available prior to that game on Wednesday. Bruno Sparky says, Derek, do you think Ibrox will be a full house on Thursday night? No. Ticket uptake hasn't been as the owners would have liked, I would imagine, Chris. And again, that's partly down to, well, probably the majority down to the team on the park and the fans not happy with the manager.
I don't think it'll be full. As you say, those packages are not exactly flying off the shelves at present, and understandably so.
Pricey as well. I mean, they're quite pricey, I've got to say.
And the fans are just not in a good frame of mind, are they? They're just not engaged with the club in a financial sense right now. They obviously still love it. They still want it to do well. They still want the best for it. It's still pleasing when they win, and it still hurts when they don't. But they're not going to put their money into and put their time, money, and effort into something that they're just not financially invested in. So I don't think it'll be anywhere near full. It's not a glamour tie, is it? It's not one of the biggest teams that you could have got. So I don't think it'll be full. So interesting to see what the crowd is like, and I see what that reaction is like. I assume there'll be some form of protest plan, you would think. I don't think that'll just be a one-hit wonder. So
they can't do it during the game because Rangers are on the last warning here with UEFA, aren't they? So
they're in very slippery ground with UEFA right now, has to be said. So hopefully those that, if there is any action planned, then you have to keep that in mind and do it in a manner that's not going to ultimately harm the club in terms of UEFA. Whether you think it's right or wrong, it's their ball, it's their rule book, and they can hand down punishments as they see fit. Yeah, a lot of people commenting, saying not happy with the pricing. Given the state of play, if I was Rangers, I am not. I would have made it more attractive to try and get more punters in the door. But there you go. Only the Roma game is
is it the standout game? But that aside, I mean, Genk, Ludo Goretz and Braga, it's not exactly edge of the seat stuff, but there you go. Hopefully Rangers can kick off with a win regardless. Wrap up with this. Aldo says, guys, hit the like button. Only around 3% of people watching have done so, which is poor. You tell them, Aldo. Hit that like button, folks. It helps us massively here at the channel. But yeah, we'll wrap up there for now. Big thank you to you all for tuning in. Big thanks to Chris as well. Just a heads up of what is to come. Those of you that are extra members on YouTube, given that Rangers are playing on Thursday, we'll move the Q&A from Wednesday to today. So we'll record around 1 p.m. this afternoon. I'll pop the request out on the community page a little later on for questions. Get them sent in, folks. We'll try and get through as many as we possibly can. Tomorrow morning, I'm speaking to a journalist who covers Genk. He's a Genk fan as well, so we'll get a bit of an insight into how bad their season has been so far and what we can expect on Thursday. So plenty to come your way. If I don't speak to you later, enjoy your Monday, whatever you are doing, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.